Continuing coverage of the Jimmy Dimora sentencing right now. The former Cuyahoga County Commissioner has been in an Akron federal courthouse for several hours today, waiting to learn his fate. This 5 months after a jury found him guilty. Joining me now is WEWS legal analyst Avery Friedman. Avery, give us some insight into this high-profile case and what you expect to come out of it.
Well, obviously it's going to go a lot longer than a lot of people anticipated, because right now they're nickel and diming it. Antoinette Bacon represents the Justice Department. Andrea Whitaker is the defense lawyer, and they're battling over $15 jerseys and the value of jobs. It looks like it's going to go on well into the early evening.
When they do that, do they put a check mark here or a check mark there, and the judge says, well, that's another 6 months here and another 6 months there? Is that how it works?
Actually, in a way, that's exactly what's going on, because the amount of the bribes will factor in on what the sentence is going to be. The problem is there are 32 convictions. So whether a jersey is worth $15 or $100 is going to make very, very little difference.
Government wants at least 22 years in prison.
Yep.
They're going to get that.
I think it's likely you're going to see 20 or more. And the fact is, he's 57 years old. That means the earliest he would be eligible with 22 years, probably about 18 years later, he's going to be 75 years old.
The pictures we have shown, this is his family showing up at court today. These are today's pictures, and there may be some file pictures of Jimmy Dimora himself coming in a suit, but that is not today. Jimmy Dimora showed up in prison coveralls, bright orange, and in a wheelchair.
Well, that's right. He's been in the federal holding in Youngstown. He has not been given his freedom. He actually appealed that case to the U.S. Court of Appeals, was denied, so he has been in there. He's showing up in prison garb. What's
this tell you about, this changed everything that happened in Cuyahoga County, the way we govern ourselves in this community right now?
Well, remember, the vote was, should we study about a change in government, or should we just get rid of the rascals? And that's exactly what they did. I thought maybe study would make sense, but you know what? I think Cuyahoga County voters were so fed up with what they saw in this blatant, oafish, gluttonous sort of behavior that we have a new form of government because of that.
Is the federal government sending a signal, trying to send a signal to everybody in government now? I mean, by saying, okay, this is what's happening to Jimmy. Now, is everybody else watching? Is that what they're saying?
Well, you know, they thought they were doing that when they prosecuted successfully Nate Gray.
Yeah.
And
a trafficking.
Exactly right.
Former congressman.
Ironically, those major federal prosecutions of corruption were going on exactly at the time when Jimmy was making plans to go to Las Vegas. So whether or not it's going to deter future conduct, no one knows. It should. It remains to be seen.
The former auditor of Cuyahoga County received 22 and a half years for his involvement in this same kind of scheme. But he's still out because he's testifying for the prosecution.
Well, you know what they call that?
What is that called?
He's called a rat.
Well, yeah, okay, so he ratted out on the others. What happens to him now? He's trying to boil that sentence down.
Well, he's done it so far because his testimony was undoubtedly helpful in the Jimmy Dimora case. But remember, there are two big trials coming up. Number one, Anthony Calabrese coming up in the fall, and another big one, Samir Mohammed, his assistant. So they need Frank Russo in both of those federal corruption trials.
I've got 15 seconds remaining. What kind of prison will Jimmy Dimora go to?
Certainly not going to be club fed.
Not the country club.
No, sir. It's going to be medium security, and it won't be anything like Allentown. Won't be club fed at all.
Hard time.
Absolutely.
Avery Friedman, our news analyst, legal analyst for WEWS, also works CNN. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Appreciate to have you with us.